Hey there, welcome to another video. I'm just going to go through my settings in this one and like what I play with, see if you can get anything from that to do for your own. So if we go into options and then options again, we will start with gameplay. So you've got field of view, which is just, mine's on full. That makes it so that you can see your arms and stuff. So like if you're wearing a rad suit, it shows your hands and your arms for the rad suit. Just looks a lot better, I think. Compass, obviously you want that so that you can, like if you're in a team, you can like tell people where the enemy's shooting from, so it just makes it easier. Streamer mode, I never actually stream, but I leave that off when I do record, just because like when people are called that in streamer mode, everyone's called something else. And it's just really confusing, so I'll leave that off. Rich presence, I like to have that on so that it shows people when you're in a monument on your friends list. It's just nicer. With censorship, I leave that off because I think that's default anyway. I can't remember, I don't think I've ever changed that, but I have the summer DLC anyway, so I change it so that it's got a bathing suit instead, so you don't actually see anything anyway. Hide signs, I like to see people's signs. Gibs, I'm not too bothered with Gibs, it just makes it look a lot nicer. I know when people are raiding, they turn this off so that when they break into a base, like the wall falls down, then obviously you've got to wait for that wall to disappear, aren't you? But some people have that off so that you could just see straight away and shoot. I like to have that off because I'm not like a PvP channel or out like that. So user scale. We've got the actual user scale. I have 0.6. That just makes it so everything's a lot smaller. You've got all your weapons at the bottom are really small. Your chat's really small. It's not taking up most of the space on your screen. Obviously, you want the HUD on. Chat, I have that on. But I never... That's just in case like people are getting salty and stuff and videos. Like, if I'm PvPing videos and someone gets salty, I can use that in the actual video. That just comes in useful, really. Auto-switch channels. I have that on, but I don't think I've ever auto-switched. Name tags. Obviously, you want to know who's actually in your team. Game tips are off because, well, I've got over 6,000 hours now, so I don't really need any game tips. It's not going to give me anything I don't already know. Player model. That's the model in the screen here, like your player. I like to have that on just because it just looks nice. If you have it off, I think it just totally disappears, and it looks weird because I've always had that on. So we go to audio now. I have the music off. That's only in game. That's just so that when you're shooting people and then all of a sudden the music comes on, it's kind of off-putting because sometimes, I think in some of the songs on Rust, they have stuff that sound like footsteps sometimes, so it's just a lot better to have that off. And the rest of all this I'm not really bothered about. I keep that on full, but then I just turn it down on my headset. Voices can vary as well. Some people are loud, so I'll turn it down, but some people are quiet, so I'll leave it on full for that. Instruments is just, I think that was default. You can see in the background anyway that I don't really play with these that much, so not too bothered about it. Controls. So we've got the mouse setting on 1.0, which I think that's default. But I can't remember what my DPI is anyway, but I'll find out and put it on the screen anyway. So axis, I don't like it inverted, so we'll keep it like that. Some people can play inverted. I just find it really confusing. Obviously I don't want to auto-transmit voice, because knowing me, I'd do a gate code or something, or a door code, and then everyone can raid me. MIDI, I think I actually turned that on. But I think that was for a video. which I haven't actually uploaded, so look out for that. Screen. So when I am recording, I have it on 1440 by 900. This is just because it's easier for recording, and that's my native as well, my native resolution on the desktop. When I'm not recording and I'm just having a bit of fun, I turn it to 1200, just because it's a lot better. The FPS drops a lot, but it just looks a lot nicer, but I can't record in that. So I'll leave it like that. Mode. Yeah, well, we want exclusive, don't we, really? VSync and FPS. Now, I don't limit the FPS. And if I put VSync on, I think it just sticks at 60 FPS or something anyway. I've never had that on, but I don't tend to tear. I've never noticed it anyway, I don't tear. So, I just leave it like that for now. Graphics. Now, because I've got it on 900, I can put that on full. But between 3 and 5, unless you mess around with this, it doesn't seem to do like a huge amount. So 3 is a decent amount, I think. Shadow, I put it on 1 because that's like the... Sorry, it's just really loud. So for shadow quality, I have it on 1 because if you put it on 0, the shadow between the soft side and hard side, especially on stone, looks a bit weird. So if I put it on 1, it stops all that. Cascades, nah, we don't really need cascades. Shadow lights, again, that's just 1, so that it just looks a bit nicer. The water quality and reflections, I leave that all the way down for stuff like the oil rig. Because I'm sure it's the same with everyone else, but I lose at least 40 FPS when I'm at the oil rig, so I turn them off so that I can just get as much as I can out of it. World reflections, that's just... I don't know why that's on 1 actually. Shader level, I put that on full so it looks nicer. Stuff like when you're under trees, in base. Draw distance is so that you can see stuff from further. Like, airdrops. Yeah, so you can see an airdrop from really far. That if you have that on high, on the highest like I do, you can see them from quite far away, so I find that really useful. Shadow distance is just so it looks nicer again. These two, I don't think I've ever had it on. They are large performance impacts, so I don't really... No, I think it's just so it looks nicer, but I think it's like getting too nice, you know. We don't want it to look too nice. Grass displacement, I don't normally use that, but I actually don't know why I don't use that either, because I like that, actually. It's not, but we'll leave that anyway. Quality, everything's on 100. These can go higher, but I like to keep it on that just for the FPS, really. Obviously, on the menu, I get about 200 FPS, but that's the menu. I think in-game, it can be anything between 80 and 110 FPS, which is actually pretty decent. This, I don't really understand. I just did it for the best looking SM8A. Don't know the difference between FX8A, SM, TSS8, you know. I just think that one looks the nicest. That's the one I use for all my videos. And some people have actually commented that the videos look really good and asking what my graphics card was. Which I will put my specs on probably at the beginning, but we'll see. I'll put them in the video anyway. Depth of field. Yeah, like it says. Looks cool, but adds nothing. Yeah, it makes it look blurry at a distance, so I think it's like a further motion blur. Like, no one has motion blur on either, do they? I don't know anyone that does. Ambient Occlusion. Yeah, so it gives it more depth. I have these on for looks. Lens dirt is for when you're getting shot at from far. So like, say if someone's at the side of you and you're not sure, like they're to the left, it kind of does a blood splatter on that side, which is really handy for when you don't know where you're getting shot from, so I'll leave that on. Sun shafts are just because it looks really nice, actually. When it's like the sun's shining through the trees and stuff. Looks really nice. The other stuff, yeah, is just looks. Looks a bit nicer, but it's not exactly, like I say, it's not making it look perfect or anything, so I'm getting the FPS without losing much quality. Experimental, I think this changes a lot as well, because obviously a lot of the experimental might go into the other settings when it's been finalised a bit better, but I think this is just stuff they're messing around with at the moment. Grass shadows, I mean, who really cares about individual grass blades and the shadows? Contact shadows, I'm not really sure what that is actually. Pedal support, that's for MIDI stuff. I think they're on by default anyway. I think when I turned on the MIDI stuff, their MIDI input, I think this automatically changed just so that it thought I was going to use a pedal. But I don't. I don't even have a MIDI keyboard, to be honest. Occlusion culling, I didn't even say that right. Hides objects behind walls. I think this really helps for when you can see... Sometimes you can see garage doors through a triangle wall thing, you know, triangle area. So I leave that on because I don't really like stuff like that. It's like, in a way, it's kind of cheating a little bit, isn't it? But anyway, leave that on, makes it look a lot better. I think going through all that, I think we've pretty much gone through everything. Yeah, speaker config, I'll leave it on stereo. I think you can do 5.1 or headphones. Yeah, 5.1 surround, 7.1. But for headphones, it's just stereo's a lot easier, I think. That's yeah, that's pretty much it for all my settings. If you want to know anything else or like that, just comment, let me know. I'm pretty good at replying back to people with comments. I've noticed that quite a lot of you that watch my videos as well are not subbed. So if you want to drop me a sub and help the channel, I don't get paid for any of this. But yeah, thanks for watching.